Have you ever wondered why you behave the way you behave now? Have you ever wondered why you're always trying to prove a point? Have you ever wondered why you forgive too much? Have you ever wondered why you argue too much? Have you ever wondered why you suspect too much? Well, this is Maria Lucas, and this is Blossoming Power. Welcome. You're going to dig deep a little bit. I'm going to share a story, then I'll tell you my lessons and how I came to find out why I do the things that I do. Disclaimer, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a counselor, but I know one or more things in this topic, and 95% coming from my personal story. And I'm also an adult educator. I'm a certified adult educator, so I qualify to talk about these things. Okay. When I was young, I think from the age of 5 probably to 9 there or 8 there, we grew up in an abusive home. Like my father would be abusive. My father would beat everyone from children to my mother to the neighbor's child or the sister's kids. He would beat. He was just an abusive man. I don't know what was wrong with him, but yeah, he would beat. I believe that beating kids might be normal, but beating my mother was something that I could not tolerate. But I just could not do anything because I was young. So he would beat and beat and beat, especially when he's drunk. He'll go out and then he will drink, and then when he come, he will beat to the point where you even just feel pity of your own mother. My mother will pack and leave to her parents' house. We will be there either with the nanny or alone. If there's no nanny that time, we'll be alone. So after 2 days, she'll come back, or my father will go and get her, beg to the parents, then she'll come back. It's just a month or so, the beating will start, and then she'll go home to her parents. She'll come back. So the cycle keep on repeating itself. It keep on repeating itself. I can remember one day, I think I was 10 or so, 10, 11 there. I can remember I came home because from the age of 9, I went somewhere else to be, I don't know if you call it to be raised or you were already raised until what time, I don't know. Maybe to be raised by another person. But I usually come for holiday every December. So this December I came for the holiday. And then my father came in drunk and talking trash. Then I saw my mother came in my room. What she did was to go under the bed to hide from her husband, to hide from the beating. under my bed. Just imagine how I felt. My mother under my bed. Then the man came in with a belt, looking for his punching bag, which was the wife. So he pulled out my mother from under the bed, beating. I think I was thrown out of the bed so that he can lift the bed. Then he started beating my mother. So I went outside, took my elder brother. What we did was I took a knife and a metal. My brother took a panga and a stick. So we called him out from that room. Say, if you don't come out, somebody will lose their life. And stop beating my mother. As small as I was, 10, 11 or so, I have to stand up to this woman beater, my own father. With the help of my brother. You know what he said? Umanonaga kokane. Ngangata mkuthiritago. Mwala kudhipaganje. Simply he said, so the kids are grown up now. So you are taking things, or you are taking those sticks to beat me, or do you want to kill me? But one thing I can remember from that day, he never beat my mother, nor anyone in the house again. Because he had an abusing mentality, because now he could not do anything physical or physically beat us. We are big now, could defend ourselves. He resorted to emotional abuse, insults, just talking trash, a lot of nonsense. He spoke. And I will feel pity for my mom, especially when I had to leave after the holiday is finished or is over. I will have to leave, and I will leave her there. It really broke my heart leaving her there. But I knew my brother was old enough. He can stand up for my mother, for our mother. Fast forward, our mother bought a car. And then this man made the car his own. So he would take the car, lift for some other towns, stay there for 3 months, and then come back. To the point where he came back and little did I know he came back with the virus. I remember that time there was a lot of stigma about HIV people with HIV. That time there was a lot of ignorance. So I'm there thinking, my mother telling me as young as I was, I think, see, I was 14. I was 14 or 13 there. My mom telling me, no, she's HIV positive. Because of this man. So I just grew this resentment against my father. Because then when a person is diagnosed with HIV, all we thought of is dying. She will die. She will die. That was the only thing that was in my mind, that my mother will die. She will die before I finish my school. She will die before I get a job. She will die before I give her grandkids. That was the only thing in my head. Afraid of my mother dying. But the grace of God was big enough that she survived. The man died first. Although I wanted him dead, truly I wished him dead. I ended up weeping at his funeral. I don't know how, but yeah, I guess he was my father. But I hated him until he died. And after he died, I hated him because my mother then was not the same again. Everything was not the same. Although he was not there, he was constantly abusing us, especially me. In my mind, I will relive those memories. I will look at my mother, the way she's behaving, though she given up on life. It was very sad. And when my mother passed, I think it was 5 years later after he died, my mother passed also, 5 years later. So my mother passed 2017. I even hated him more, even if he was in the grave. Because I believe that she couldn't have died have he not abused her. Because she was nothing but the best wife. But still, she was abused. And because of her kids, she stayed. At some point, I felt like it's because of us she's gone, because she will always stay because of us. She will always stay. And it is something that I cherish about her. To tell the truth, I just came to forgive my father. I think in 2020 when I went for therapy, something happened to me. Then I went to see a counselor. And then I've just realized that the way I behave now is because of these things, the seeds that were planted in my life when I was young. And they're just manifesting now. So, the moral of this story. I have been in the longest relationship. I'll tell you about that when the time is right. The time is not right yet, but I will tell you about that. I have been in the longest relationship. Longest. And this particular person will do things. The cheating, the emotional abusing, Emotional abuse doesn't mean like a person calling you names and whatnot. It's just these funny comments that they make, and they'll come and tell you it was a joke, but you knew they were serious. But when you confront it, they'll tell you, no, I was just joking. But those are some of those things. Then I asked my psychologist, what happened? What is this? Now she said, no, the way you're telling me the story, you just behave like that because, or you just forgave this particular person because you learned that from your mother. I said, what? Yes. You saw your mother being abused by your father, but she stayed. She forgave. So that is what you know, to forgive. Even if the person have done you wrong, you continue forgiving. Even if you know that that person will not change, you continue forgiving. I've told you in a previous video that I always knew what I wanted. But it's because of some of these things that just suppressed what you wanted. Now you have to take on different identities, the identities that are not yours. And then you lose yourself. And then you end up doing things that in your right mind, in your right identity, you will not do. But then I asked you questions in the beginning. Why do you think you need to prove a point? It could be your seed. When you were a child, you were never understood. Whenever you're telling your parents or your sisters anything, or you want to explain your thing, they always blame you. Even if you want to explain yourself to them, that no, this is not what happened, this is what happened, they just say, move away. We know you did it, or we know this happened because of you. You were never given a chance to explain yourself. That's why you just want to win arguments at this point in time. You were never understood. It's not now. Just go back at your childhood. Find out. Remember. You will notice that you were never understood. Why do you forgive? Because the people who brought you up were always forgiving. Even the most nonsensical things, they were forgiving. That's why you are also forgiving all the nonsensical things. Why you argue? Because your parents or whoever brought you up were always arguing. So now you took after them. It's funny how we tell ourselves that I don't want to be my mother, I don't want to be my father. Like for me, when I was growing up, I knew how my mother was living. So I was telling myself, I don't want to be my mother. So I'll make sure that in my relationship, I do this. Little did I know that the world have moved out from physical abuse to mental abuse or emotional abuse. I am my mother, just in a different version. Her version was physical beating, physical abuse. Mine was emotional abuse. Because of these things, you have lost your identity, you have lost, or you did not even know who you are in the first place. I did not know who I was. But I know along the way, I have a lot to tell you, but along the way, I have lost my self-esteem. So I had low self-esteem. So whatever this person was doing, I just let it be. I thought it was right, you see. Even if you deep down you know you're hurting, but you just continue, you stayed. Because all you were taught was to stay. It was never to go, it was never to stand up for yourself. So, the lessons that I have learned. I told you that I hated my father until 2020 when I saw this lady who helped me. If you want her contact, you can always put it in the comments. I'll give you her contacts. And then you can also get your healing from there. You can start your journey of healing. But I told you that I hated my father. Everything in me hated him. But it's only when I forgave him, I got better. It's only when I forgave him that 2020, I made a decision. This person is dead. Like that 2020, he died 2013. So I think it was 7 years later, after his death, he was still hunting me because of this hatred that I have for him. So I said, this person, for as long as that I hold the grudge against my father, who even died 7 years later, I will remain being this way. I will remain being bitter. So I made that decision to forgive him. I think when I made that decision to forgive him is when I stopped thinking about him. Because normally I would think about him. Every month I have to think about him. Curse all the words that I want to curse. Tell him, because of you, I don't have my mother, because of that and that and that. You see? So I forgave him. The reason I also forgave him was truly he was also fighting his demons. Although that time I did not get the understanding that everyone, you are who you are because of your environment. So I just came to realize that he was also fighting his demons. Because he was not taught better, he resulted in beating. So it was not his entirely fault. The fault came from the upbringing again. Although I'm not justifying any beating, I'm not condoning any violence or any abuse. I'm just saying people need help. People truly need help. So he also was fighting his demons. He was never helped. If I known this then, maybe I could have also told her to go for therapy. Maybe we could have been a better person. The other lesson I've learned is about my mother. You don't have to stay because of kids. The only thing that we don't do is to communicate. If you learn how to communicate effectively with your kids, they'll understand. You don't have to stay. Unfortunately, my mother was never killed at the hand of abuse. But again, she was killed because she contracted the virus, whereby it went to her mind that she never recovered. Although God graced her with, I think it was 15 years after she contracted the virus. I think she stayed 15 years. God added for her 15 years. But she was never the same. So if the abuse is too much, you know that the person cannot get help. Sometimes it's not a wise decision to stay. Even if you don't die because of the physical abuse, you lose yourself. And then you even forget that you have kids. And then you'll not be able to give your kids a better life. So you don't have to stay if it's that much abusing. And again, emotional abuse. It can be too much until it gives you mental problems. Sometimes I even think physical abuse is better because the wounds heal. But emotional abuse, it will take therapy upon therapy, the grace of God to get better. Okay? So, if you know you're behaving weirdly, start questioning yourself. Start questioning your past, because it's your past that is hurting you. It's your past that is interfering with your happiness now. It's your past that is making decisions for you. It's your past that you are reliving. You are still that child that did not feel. You know, when things happen to us, we are supposed to feel. We are supposed to feel emotion. We are supposed to tell people that you have hurt me. I don't like it. But because you are not given the platform or the chance to feel, those feelings have been trapped into your childhood. That little girl is still hurting. You can be 50 years old, but you will still be hurting of something that was done to you when you were 6 years old. That little girl is still inside, trapped in a 50-year-old woman. Until you feel, you still remain the way you are. You need to feel. You need to feel. I don't care whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, you need to feel. Because it's these men who are told that men don't cry, men don't feel, don't have emotion, that are abusing people now because they want to feel and they don't know how to feel. All they can do is just to beat, to abuse, to violate. And they think they are feeling. They are not feeling. They are lashing out. They are angry at their parents and they are taking it out on other people's kids. They are angry at their community. They are angry at their siblings, whoever rose them. They are angry at those people that raised them up. Now, because they cannot beat those people, they will beat the women. Even some women beat men because they do not feel. The lesson here today is you should feel. You should feel. If I insult you today, you must be able to say, Maria, you have hurt me and I feel sad. It's only then you will not have a grudge toward Maria and you will not taking it out on Selma or on Peter, because you have felt that emotion. We have a lot of emotion trapped within us. We did not feel. If you think you behave the way you are, you behave, and then you go and regret. Please check your childhood. That seed was planted. Remember, when you plant a seed, you put it underground. When you put it underground, it starts to germinate bit by bit. And then it becomes this whole tree. So now your feelings, you are at 30 now, you are at 50 now. So your feelings are now up to a tree. Imagine a tree. Now you are just lashing out. You don't even know why you get angry. It's because you were not allowed to feel. You were not understood. You were just abused and let like that. You were just beaten and left like that. You were just insulted and left like that. You have just you witness some bad situation happening, or some bad things happening, and you were never taught how to address those issues. Now they are just coming up in your life now. Those emotions needs to be felt. Now they are now coming out, and you don't know. You don't. The funny thing is that, or the sad thing I can say, is that you don't even know why you behave the way you behave. If you see these signs, find help. Seek help. Seek help because you need it. It's only truly when you confront your demons, your emotions that you did not feel, when you start feeling them, then you know who you are. Then you know what you want to be in life. Because some of these things that we are doing, it's because we never felt when we were abused. I tell my daughter, if she feels bad about something, she should always come. If she cannot talk to that person, she should always come to me and say, Mom, who did this to me? And I feel sad about it. Or I feel happy. I feel angry. Yes, because it's only if you allow people to feel now, then these things will not happen in their future. Will not come and hunt them like these things that are hunting us now. Okay. So, I want to leave you with a question. Why are you the way you are? If you don't seek help now, you'll never know why you behave the way you are. So, answer that question. Why are you the way you are? Again, this is a platform that will use real life stories, painful stories, and how we overcame these painful issues to be where we are today. So I'm telling you now, use this type of stories. Come up with your blueprint on how to heal and how to blossom in who you truly are. Again, I say, you're not a caterpillar. Come out of that cocoon. You're a butterfly. You are a butterfly. Blossoming power. The power within. I love you all.